Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 15th episode of the DIH Talks. My name is Ivan, I'm support officer at the Digital Innovation Hub. And for today's topic, we have the Cyber Resilience Act and impact in manufacturing. Therefore, we are pleased to welcome our speakers from the Luxembourg House of Cybersecurity. We have Anita Arul Rajakumar. She's cybersecurity specialist. She will briefly introduce us to the cybersecurity services of the DIH. And then we jump into the main topic with um, Jihad Dazin. She's GRC specialist and Carmelo Di Mauro, expert on risk and security management. Just before we begin, I would like to bring your attention to the question tab in the chat. Feel free to drop your question there anytime, and we will address them in the Q&A at the end of the session. And also to make sure, before we begin, do you see the screen? And do you hear me? Like if someone could simply write a message in the chat, would be very helpful so everything runs smoothly. Okay, thank you very much. And I give the word to Anita.
Thank you, Ivan. So as we start our webinars, as usual, we will look at the cybersecurity services offered by the DIH. For most of you who have been attending the webinars, you must already know, but please bear with me as we always have new people who join into our webinars. So we are part of the European Digital Innovation Hub. So the services are split across awareness, cybersecurity assessments, other assessments, skills and training, technology testing, and awareness on funding. So these are usually split across train, assess, fund, and test. So when we deep dive into the cybersecurity services, we are part of an organization called Luxembourg House of Cybersecurity. We have two departments, one is Circle and NC3. So Circle is mainly responsible for incident response and threat intelligence. As members of NC3, we are responsible for competence and capacity building here in Luxembourg. We also do research and innovation. So the services we have here, part of DIH, are two. One is light cybersecurity assessment. This is based on 62443 standard. So this gives you an idea of the majority of your information security. And the second one is called cybersecurity value pack. So this light assessment is an online assessment. It consists of 28 questions, at the end of which you have an evaluation along with recommendations. The Cyber Value Pack has 3 services together. The first one is awareness and training for the entire team, including leadership. This can be done both online and in person. The next service is Room 42, which is a cyber simulation attack where you can test your crisis management plans. The third one is testing platform, which lets you test your IoT firmware before being pushed into production. Now I hand over the mic to Jihad to dive us into CRA.
So, hello everyone. Well, today we will talk about the Cyber Resilience Act. This is a new European regulation which is concerning the products with digital elements. So, in this presentation, we will present the important topics about the Cyber Resilience Act and how to ensure the conformity, especially for manufacturers. So these are the main topics that we will discuss in this presentation. Firstly, we will begin by the CRA overview. Then we'll present the timeline about this regulation, then the penalties that we will face organizations who are not compliant to CRA. We will discuss the scope of this regulation, including the product categories, the economic operators, and the open source products. And finally, we will discuss the most important part, which is the main requirements, especially for manufacturers. So firstly, we will begin by a CRA overview. So the CRA is a regulation which is dedicated to products with digital elements. So products can be hardware or software, and these products are not yet covered by other European regulations. So normally, the purpose of this regulation is to protect customers using products with digital elements and also to strengthen the resilience of these products in the European Union. So in this slide, I'm presenting the main dates of the application of this regulation. So the entry into force was in 10 December 2024. Then in 11 June 2026, the governments should be ready and the assessment bodies should be in place. So these assessment bodies are responsible for ensuring the conformity assessment of the organizations. In 11 September 2026, the manufacturers must report, and then the reporting obligations of manufacturers concerning the exploitable vulnerabilities and the severe incidents will apply. And then the 11 December 2027, the entire regulation will fully apply. So beginning from this date, everything in the CRA will be applicable, and also the penalties. Sorry about the screen. Can I focus? So for so normally we will carry on. So these are the main penalties facing the organization which are not compliant with CRA. Ivan, I'm just asking, can I make the screen bigger, or it's not possible?
Unfortunately, I think it don't work. Like, let me try something.
Okay.
Then your camera will not be appearing, but it's okay for you like that?
Yeah, it's okay.
You tell me when I should do it smaller again.
Yes, okay.
Okay? All right. Is it okay like that?
Actually, I don't see any difference, but it's okay. So yeah,
Oh.
I will carry on. Yeah. So these are the penalties facing the companies which are not compliant to CRA. So for companies who are manufacturers of products with digital elements and who are not compliant with the essential requirements or with incident and vulnerability reporting obligations will face 50 million euros or 2.5% of the worldwide annual turnover of the previous year. So these are the charges. For companies which are not compliant with other obligations, so the penalty will be 10 million euro or 2% of the worldwide annual turnover of the previous year. And for companies who have done inaccurate or incomplete information to notified bodies or to the market surveillance authority, so they should pay 5 million euro or 1% of the worldwide annual turnover of the previous year. So these are mainly the penalties facing the companies non-compliant with CRA. And these are some exceptions, for example, for the SMEs, micro or small enterprises. They will not face penalties for reporting obligations, like for meeting the deadlines of reporting of severe incidents and actively exploited vulnerabilities, and also for open source software stewards. So these are an exception from the penalties. We will discuss this later about the open source software stewards. So firstly, we should know what are the products in scope and what are the companies which are included in the scope. So the companies included in the scope of the Cyber Resilience Act are the companies who products or who develop a product with digital elements. So firstly, we should define a product with digital elements. It's a product, it can be hardware or software product, and including its remote data processing solutions or separate hardware or software components. So these products with digital elements include a data connection to a device or a network. And the remote data processing components can be any data processing component at a distance. And if it's not present, it could prevent the product with digital element from performing its functions. So we have the product and we have also its remote data processing component. Both are included in the scope. We have some exceptions from the products in scope. For example, the non-commercial products. So the non-commercial products are not included in the scope of this regulation. The standalone software as a service, or the services when they are not supporting a remote processing for a product with digital elements. But for example, if you have a software as a service which is linked to a product with digital element, in this case, it will be included in the scope. So here we're talking about standalone software as a service component. And also including, we have the products with sectoral legislation. So all the products which have already the regulation in the European Union, they are excluded from the CRA. For example, the medical devices, the motor vehicles, aeronautical equipment. So all these equipments, we can find an existent regulation which is concerning these equipments. So they are excluded from the CRA. So here in this slide, I will discuss the main categories of products. So we have the default products. These are the products which meet the definition that we explained before. And we have another classification of the products according to this regulation. So in this regulation, we find a classification of the products. We have the important products and the critical products. These lists of products are listed in the annexes of this regulation. So for the imported products, we can find it in Annex 3, and critical products, we can find it in Annex 4. So for the important products, normally they meet some criteria.
Jihad, I'm sorry. There is a lot of background noise. I think there is something touching the microphone.
Okay. Now it's better?
Yes, no, the sound is still there. It's like something touching the microphone, and it's really like it don't stop basically. Do you know if something close to the microphone, like
Yes. Well, now it's better?
it seems like better now? Yeah, now it seems really better.
Okay.
But it seems like always when you start talking, it makes this sound in the background too. It's
Yeah.
like really something is close to the microphone and touching it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like yes, I like.
Well,
I will let you know if it's still
okay.
continuing, okay?
Okay, thanks. So for the product categories, as I said, the important products and the critical products are listed in the annexes of the CRA. So for the important products, they meet certain conditions. For example, they present some functions critical to the cybersecurity of other products, or they have significant risks to other products or to users, to the safety of users. And we have two classes here in the important products. We have products from class 1 and products from class 2. So we have the list of all the products in these classes in the annexes, as I said. And the class 2 normally present higher risk than class 1 products. Then we have critical products. So these products are dependent of essential entities, and they present serious disruptions to critical supply chains. So these are very critical products. We can find the list of these products in Annex 4. So here I present like the list of the products from each category. For example, for class 1, we have a lot of products here. So this is the list of the products. For example, identity management system products, password managers, network management systems, operating systems, boot managers, microcontrollers. So this is normally the list from the CRA regulation in Annex 1. In Annex 3, sorry. So, and these are the important products from class 2. We have the hypervisors of container runtime systems, firewalls, intrusion detection prevention systems, tamper-resistant microprocessors, tamper-resistant microcontrollers. And then the critical products. So this is the list of the critical products. We have hardware devices with security boxes, smart meter gateways, smart cards, or similar devices including secure elements. So now I'm going to talk about the economic operators which are concerned by this regulation. So the main element here is the manufacturer. The main operator is the manufacturer. But then we have also the importer and the distributor. Normally, the importer is the organization or the person who can have some products and make them available, but these products originally come from a state which is not included in the European Union. So, and he makes these products available in the European Union. And the distributor is the party who makes this product available in the market, but without changing its state. So the distributor is not responsible for developing the product, but just to making it available in the market. But the manufacturer is the party who is responsible for developing the product and designing the product. And normally each one of these operators have some obligations according to the CRA, and especially the manufacturer, because he's the one responsible for designing and developing the product. But for the importer, his responsibilities mainly are to check if the manufacturer respects all the requirements before importing the product. So he should check that the manufacturer of the product already is compliant to CRA before importing this product. And the distributor is the same thing. So the distributor should check if the manufacturer and the importer already are compliant to CRA and already respect all the requirements related to CRA. So about this product. So in this presentation, we will focus mainly on the obligations of the manufacturer, because it's the main operator. Here in this slide, I'm talking about the open source products. So normally the open source software are free software that isn't part of a commercial, is a free software which have a free license, but when it's not part of a commercial activity, it will be out of scope. So all the open source software which is not part of a commercial activity is out of scope of the CRA. And normally we can define some elements which define the commercial activity. For example, charging a price for a product, or having an intention to monetize, or processing personally identifiable information as a condition for use, not for improving the security, or accepting donations exceeding the costs associated with the product. So all these cases prove that this is a commercial activity. And we have here the open source software stewards. These are organizations that develop and maintain the open source software for commercial purposes. So the open source software stewards are included in the scope of CRA. But the contributors are spared, which means that people who contribute to the open source coding are not concerned by the CRA. So it's not under because anyways the development of the product is not under their responsibility. But the organization, the open source software steward, this is included in the scope, and it has some obligations. So normally these are the obligations of the open source software stewards, is that they must have a cybersecurity policy that contains or explains the secure development, the vulnerability management, and it also must be made available to the market surveillance authority. And they also have reporting requirements, so reporting of severe incidents and exploitable vulnerabilities. So this is the main, the most important part. So here we will discuss the main requirements of the manufacturers. So this is the list of the main requirements, and after we will discuss each one of these requirements separately. So we have the risk assessment and due diligence, the essential requirements. So the essential requirements are really the main topic here. So we have a list of requirements that the manufacturer should respect for any products that he is developing. We have the conformity assessment, the technical documentation, the declaration of conformity and CE marking, vulnerabilities and incidents reporting, information and instruction to the user, and finally support period and lifecycle responsibilities. So firstly, we will begin by the risk assessment and the due diligence. Normally, the risk assessment should be performed by the manufacturer throughout all the product's life cycle. And it should take into account the intended purpose of the use of the product, the conditions of the use of the product, which means the operational environment, and the length of time the product is expected to be in use. So, for example, if we have a product which is used for a longer time, it means that it will have a higher risk. So this is also a factor in the risk assessment. And the risk assessment, it must indicate how the essential requirements apply to the product, and also how the manufacturer will ensure that product is developed or designed in a way to guarantee a very appropriate level of cybersecurity. And the risk assessment is a document that should be included in the technical documentation. So we will discuss the technical documentation after. And it should be updated throughout the support period or whenever there are some changes for the product. So the due diligence. So here the due diligence
for third-party components, including open source. So that means assessing the risks for each component, the risk intrinsic to the components, as well as the risks posed by the way they are integrated into the product. So, for example, if we have a product with many third-party components, we should also assess the risks of these components and the risks of their integration in our product. And if, for example, a manufacturer find or discovered a vulnerability in a component, so in this case, he should notify the owner of this component. He should notify the third party. And for example, if the manufacturer releases a patch related to this component, he should share its content with the owner of this component. So these are some requirements that should be applicable in this situation. And now we will talk about the most important topic, which is the essential cybersecurity requirements. So normally we have a list of requirements that the product should respect. These requirements are included in Annex 1 of the regulation. We have two parts. The part 1, which describes the product cybersecurity requirements. Normally, we find some requirements related to the characteristics of the product or the level of security. And the part 2, it's for the vulnerability handling requirements. So it presents some controls about vulnerability handling related to this product. So this is the list of the requirements for part 1, the product cybersecurity requirements. So firstly, we find the security by design and the risk assessment. So we already talked about the risk assessment and the security by design. So the product should be secure by design. And the risk assessment also should be applied from the design stage of the product. Secondly, no known exploitable vulnerabilities. So the product which will be available in the market should not contain some known exploitable vulnerabilities. And the secure by default, so it should have a secure by default configuration. It should have also some security updates. And normally we have the access control, the data confidentiality, which is related to encryption controls, for example, the integrity protection of the product, the data minimization, which is related to the personal data and to process only what is necessary, the availability of the product to avoid harm to other systems. So, which means that if a product is exploited, it shouldn't affect other systems. To minimize attack surface, exploit mitigation techniques, so to avoid an exploitation of a product, the security monitoring and login, and data wipe, portability, and transfer, which means if a user wants his data, so he can have the portability of the data related to him, and also the possibility to transfer this data. And the data wiping, which means that his data can be deleted. So the part 2 is related to the vulnerability handling requirements. So firstly, we have the SBOM. So this is the software bill of material. This is like an inventory of all the components of a product. It can be, for example, third-party components. Yeah. Secondly, the timely patching. So about the patches which should be applied timely. The regular testing, the public disclosure whenever there are some vulnerabilities. So they should be shared in public. The disclosure policy, so it's a coordinated vulnerability disclosure policy which should be in place. The reporting channel about reporting vulnerabilities, and also sharing the contacts of whenever, for example, some researchers or other public entities find some vulnerabilities about our product, how can they contact us? And the secure updates and free and prompt updates. So the updates should be free of charge and should be communicated quickly to the users. And about the updates, I included here some details about the security updates. So normally, the updates should be available to users at least 10 years or during the support period, whichever is longer. And they should be free of charge. And for example, if we have many versions of a product, we should mention the cybersecurity risks associated with older versions. And normally, the requirements apply to the latest version if only the older, so if only it is free of charge, so without additional costs. Normally, we have the automatic updates. The updates should be automatic, and also they should be quick, disseminated without delay. But sometimes, if we assess the risks of publication and we see that the risks of publication of these patch is more than the security benefits, in this case, we can make a delay, making public information about this vulnerability until it is corrected by the users. And we have also some exceptions about automatic updates. So, for example, a PDE primarily intended to be integrated as components into other products, or a product with digital elements which is critical and in a critical environment. So in this case, the update can interfere with the operations. So the update shouldn't be automatic, but we can, for example, share the update with the user or with the organization, and then they can schedule or test these updates before applying it directly. The technical documentation, so this is documentation that should be prepared by the manufacturer and should be made available to the surveillance authority for at least 10 years or the remainder of the support period, whichever is longer. So these are the components of the technical documentation. It is also, these components are also listed in Annex 7. So the main components of this documentation are general description of the product, description of the design, development, and production and vulnerability handling processes, the risk assessment, the support period definition and clarification and justification. We will talk about this later. The applied harmonized standards to this product, the conformity testing reports or vulnerability handling reports, and the declaration of declaration of conformity. So this document, we will talk about it also after. And the software bill of material, as already explained. So this under a request of the Market Surveillance Authority. So for companies who are in the scope of CRA, normally they should have the conformity assessment. In this table, we are showing the different types of conformity assessment according to the type of product or the category of product. For example, if we have a standard product, which means the general definition of the CRA, of the product in CRA, we can have the self-assessment. But if we have an important product or a critical product, we should have a third-party assessment. So here, for example, for standard products, we have the internal control self-assessment, which is module A. Or if we have harmonized standards applicable to the product, normally for class 1 of important products, we should have a third-party examination or internal production control, which is module B or C. But if we have harmonized standards applicable to this product, then we can have the self-assessment. And for class 2 important products, it should be also a third-party EU type examination or internal production control. So it is module B plus C. Or we can have also full quality assurance, which is module H. But for critical products, we should have a certification, which is a European cybersecurity certification scheme. So this assessment can prove that the product is compliant to CRA. So we have here the vulnerabilities and incident reporting. So this is also a requirement to be compliant to CRA. So companies who discover exploitable vulnerabilities or severe incidents should report that to ENISA and to CSIRT through a single reporting platform. So the severe incident, normally it's an incident that affects the confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, or important data or functions of the product with digital elements, or it leads to the execution of a malicious code or in the network, in a product or in the network and information systems of a user. And so this is the definition of a severe incident. And for the actively exploited vulnerability, it's a malicious actor that can exploit a system without permission of the system owner. So yeah, these vulnerabilities normally should be exploitable. And normally we should also notify the users about severe incidents and actively exploited vulnerabilities, and also communicate about the risk mitigation and any corrective measures. So in the following slide, I am describing the process of reporting of severe incidents and of exploitable vulnerabilities. So normally these are the requirements from CRA. We have the discovery of the severe incident. So within 24 hours, we should have an early warning notification to CSIRT and to ENISA, indicating, if applicable, the member states where the PDE is available and whether there is a suspicion of it being caused by unlawful or malicious act. So within 72 hours, we should have an incident notification. So it contains general information about the nature of the incident, initial assessment of the incident, and corrective or mitigating measures taken by users, and sensitivity of the notified information. And after that, within 1 month of the previous notification, we should have a final report which describe the severity and impact of the incident and the type of threat or the root cause likely to have caused the incident, and the applied mitigation measures. So this is the timeline that we should respect in reporting severe incidents. And this is the main timeline to report actively exploited vulnerabilities. So it's like the other timeline. So we have the discovery of an actively exploited vulnerability, and then within 24 hours, we should do an early warning notification to ENISA and to CSIRT. So the European countries in which the product has been made available should be included in this early warning notification. And within 72 hours, we should do a second vulnerability notification. It should contain general information of a product, general nature of the vulnerability, the corrective or mitigation measures taken or that can be taken, and the sensitivity of the notified information. And within 14 days of the patch release, we should do a final report. should describe the severity and impact of the vulnerability, the information on malicious actor if applicable, and the details on security update or other corrective measures available. So here we are going to talk about the user information and the single point of contact. So single point of contact, it should be appointed by this in this organization by the manufacturers in order to communicate rapidly with the manufacturer. Sorry. Yeah, so he should also report vulnerabilities, and he should locate the coordinated vulnerability disclosure policy. So he should be the intermediate between the communication between the users and the manufacturer. The information and instruction to users. This is some instructions that should be placed in the market at least 10 years or during the support period, and they should include the following elements. So these are elements, they are detailed in Annex 2 of the CRA. So they should include details of the manufacturer, including the name, trademark, postal address, email address, the single point of contact in order to report or receive information about vulnerabilities, and the link of the coordinated vulnerability disclosure policy, the details of the product with digital elements, the name, the type, intended purpose, security environment, so a lot of details about this product, and the details, instructions, or link regarding measures to secure use, possible data security effects due to product changes, installing security updates, security decommissioning, and user data removal, security update default installation settings, and the link to the EU Declaration of Conformity and the software bill of material if made available for users. So we will talk after about the Declaration of Conformity. So in the requirements and the obligations of the manufacturer, we have the definition of the support period and the life cycle responsibilities. So the support period must be defined by the manufacturers, and it should consider the length of time during which the product is expected to be in use, and also considering other products with similar functionality and their support periods. Also, we should consider the availability of the operating environment and the support periods of the third-party components integrated in this product, and also a guidance by the administrative cooperation group. And the support period normally should be at least 5 years or equal to the expected usage period if it is less than 5 years. So the Declaration of Conformity and CE marking. These must be settled by the manufacturer after the completion of the conformity assessment procedure, as we explained before. So the declaration of conformity should be drawn by the manufacturer. It confirms that the essential requirements are met and that the product is conform to CRA. And it must be available in the languages required by the member state where the product is placed. It must be kept at the disposal of the Market Surveillance Authority for at least 10 years or for the support period, whichever is longer. And we have the CE marking. So this is to allow customers to identify the product with digital element that it is conformed to CRA, so that it shows that it meets the requirements. And so the CE marking should be affixed visibly, legibly, and indelibly. So, and we can put it in the product itself or in its packaging. we can include it also in the declaration of conformity. So this can show that our product is compliant to CRA and inform users when purchasing this product. So normally these are the main requirements of manufacturers. These are the main topics about the CRA regulation. So in the following, I will let you with my colleague, Carmelo. He will explain the Secure project. It is a project for funding of SMEs in order to be compliant to CRA.
Okay, so thank you, Jihad, for your presentation. It was, I think, quite exhaustive. I'm aware that, I mean, it's difficult to explain in details all the complexity of these regulation and this act, but I mean, in the end of the day, the scope of the Commission is to try to improve the posture of our European market. So basically, this act has the main political goal to try to reduce the vulnerability of all the equipment that are sensitive for our industry. And we know, and the European Commission recognized that the process is quite difficult to make such a transition. For that reason, the European Commission tried to accompanying the market, accompanying the factories and the manufacturers to step by step to take on board this initiative. One of these initiatives is the Secure project. Secure project is basically a project that tries to support the company, the entrepreneur, and to make a transition. So to try to apply the CRR requirements. And for that reason, the main goal of the project is to provide some financial support, and not only financial support, providing also some references, some technical support in order to help the community to understand better the CRR and to try to put in place such a strategy. So the Secure project is a European project, has a budget of 22 million euro, and will run for the next 3 years. And companies that are involved or they are producing equipment that are related to this, the Annex 1 basically, and the Annex 3, they can apply for asking for money in order to start to figure out how to accomplish, to comply with these CRR requirements. Please, next slide. So basically, during the first during the next 3 years, there will be a number of calls where entrepreneur can apply in order to ask for some financial support. That financial support is basically they can receive 30,000 euro, and they have to demonstrate to run a project for, I mean, the European Commission is going to finance 50% of the project, so they can receive 30,000 euro for a project that will the size of 60,000 euro. So basically, this scheme is a cascading effect. So the workflow of this activity will be a preliminary activity of subscription. So you must be subscribed on a platform. and then you have to submit your proposal. The proposal will be evaluated as any other type of financial support coming from Europe, and then you have the opportunity to be being selected in order to start to apply to the CRR requirements to your products. Next slide, please. So basically, the first call, and that's what my main message here. The next call will be open the next year in January. So we are finalizing the platform. We are finalizing all the procedure, but basically we are ready to launch this call, the first call, and there on that slide you can see a little bit what will be the time schedule for the next year. It's a little bit longer procedure, basically because you have 2 months for preparing your proposal after the launch of the call. Then there will be a period for evaluation. So experts will judge who is eligible, what are the quality of the proposal, and so on. And then by let's say the next summer, you can receive your budget, so you can start your activity. So basically, this is a supporting action of the European Commission to support this transition towards the application of the CRR. So just quickly, what are the eligible criteria? It's rather simple. Giada already explained very well this aspect. Basically, eligible all company that produce some product that are listed on the CRR regulation, and basically you must be part of the European Community, European Commission, European Union, and it must be your activity must be related to the production or service related to the equipment that are listed on the Annex 1 and Annex 3. So basically, you could also apply if you don't have any product, but you envisage to have such a product in the future. Next slide, please. Okay, so here I list all the category of the eligible activity. So I'm not going to read all these lists, even because we are running out of time, but you will receive this presentation, so you can check by yourself if you are you can consider to apply for this fund. This next slide. The category that are not included in this call this one, so category 1, category 9, category 15, basically are excluded because is not already available a certification scheme that must be defined and finalized by the European Commission. So basically, this is an opportunity for all the companies that are working on this field, that are concerned by the CRR, to explore and to have some funds for try to apply all the requirements of the CRR. We are there for supporting you in order to facilitate the application. So we are part of the consortium. So if you need, if you are interested to have more information, how to apply, what are the time schedule, we are there to help you. So don't hesitate to contact us, and that could be an opportunity. On the other side, I can say that the real deadline for this transition is the 11th December 2027. But if you start earlier, and if you have the opportunity to have access to some financial resource, could be beneficial for your company, could be beneficial for Europe in general. So thank you for your attention. And if you have any question, we are there for answering. But about this, we are there to support you in order to implement the CRR. Thank you.
Thank you very much to all our speakers. Thank you, Anita. And thanks to our main speakers for this very helpful presentation. I'm going to see if there are no questions. So we can simply skip this part and go to the QR code. If you scan this QR code, you will land on our event page. Our next webinar is on November 21st. The DIH Talks episode 16. Sorry, this is a small mistake. Next episode is the number 16, Physical Security in Manufacturing Facilities. And the next workshop we have is for industrial participants only on November 13th, the Test Before Invest workshop, User-Centric Design. A big thank you for all our participants, and we hope to see you in the next webinar and of course in the workshops. And I wish you a wonderful weekend, and also thanks to our speakers. I wish you also a very good weekend. Thank you and bye-bye.